Culture. Introduction of culture and aspects and elements of culture. The study of culture is one of the most diverse and complex dimensions within sociology. Culture can be defined as encompassing the entire lifestyle for a given group. It binds our nation states, our political institutions, marketplaces, religions, and ideologies. Culture flavors our interpretations of the world and is generally passed through familial lines. In short, culture is what makes human societies unique from one another. Material and symbolic cultures. Sociologists view culture according to two different categories, material and culture and symbolic culture. Material culture artifacts, one can discern a lot about people by looking at their artifacts. Artifacts, material items that they make, possess, and value. This examination surrounds material culture, which includes the physical items one associates with a given group, such as artwork, emblems, clothing, jewelry, foods, buildings, and tools. Sociologists explore the meaning of these objects to a given society. An example of American culture in the United States is the American flag. This item is used to reinforce a sense of belonging via shared American citizenship. Other symbols that are considered traditionally American include barbecue, baseball, apple pie, and rock and roll. Many cultural Material culture is often most visible during ceremonies such as birthdays, weddings, and funerals. Some artifacts of traditional Indian material culture are shown in figure below. Symbolic culture. Symbolic culture is also called non-material culture, focuses on a group of ideas that represent a group of people. These may be encoded in mottos, songs, or catchphrases, or may simply be themes that are pervasive in their culture. Phrases like free enterprise and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are examples of American symbolic culture. Material culture is often the tangible embodiment of the underlying ideas of symbolic culture. For any social group to remain connected over time, there must be a culture that binds its members together in times of war and crisis. Governments often draw up symbolic culture to rally people to action using songs, parades, discussion of heroes past, and so on, as shown in figure below. It is not a coincidence that most high schools have a school mascot, school colors, and a school song. Such cultural artifacts are in place to help create a shared sense of identity, loyalty, and the belonging. Symbolic culture includes both cognitive and behavioral components, that is, it informs cultural values and beliefs as well as cultural norms and communication styles. This is an example of symbolic culture. Symbolic culture. Symbolic culture includes ideas that identify a culture. It may be drawn up to encourage loyalty or patriotism, as shown here. Symbolic culture is usually slower to change than material culture, which can lead to the phenomenon of culture lag. The expansion of devices and technology in contemporary times are prototypical examples of culture lag. Whereas American culture still prizes individuality and privacy, the development of smartphones and social media push toward a more community-oriented and less private world. Still, there is evidence that symbolic culture is beginning to change in response to these technological material innovations. Younger generations appear to be less concerned about what personal information is publicly accessible than older generations. Language. Language is the most highly developed and complex symbol system used by most cultures. Language consists of spoken, written, or signed symbols, which are regulated according to certain rules of grammar and syntax. Language enables us to share our ideas, thoughts, experiences, and discoveries, fears, plans, and desires with others. Written language extends our capacity to communicate across both spatial and temporal boundaries. Without language, it would be difficult to transmit culture. Understanding a group's language is critical to understanding its culture. Language is critically important in the transmission of culture. It requires a complex interplay of multiple brain circuits. Values, beliefs, norms, and rituals. An important component of culture are the rules that structure society. Values are what a person deems important in life, which dictates one's ethical principles and standards of behavior. A belief is something that an individual accepts to be the truth. Every culture has its own beliefs and value systems. This will be important in your future career, as patients tend to carry their beliefs into the healthcare system. For example, as described in the chapter introduction, some Asian cultures believe that healthcare division should be the responsibility of a patient's family, which avoids burdening the patient who is already ill. With having to make such a decision, this belief is in direct contrast to the American belief system that patient autonomy should be prized and that healthcare decisions should be made by a patient whenever possible. These conflicts can prove challenging to healthcare professionals, and there is not always one correct answer to such dilemmas. Such situations, when a cultural difference impedes interaction with others, are called cultural barriers. As described in Chapter 8 of MCAT Behavioral Sciences Review, norms are social rules that define the boundaries of acceptable behavior. While norms are not laws, they do govern the behavior of many individuals in society and provide a sense of social control. Norms are what provide us with a sense of what is appropriate, what we should do, and what we should not do. Norms exist for behavior, speech, dress, home life, and more. A ritual is a formalized ceremony that usually involves specific material objects, symbolism, and additional mandates on acceptable behavior. Rituals tend to have a prescribed order of events or routine. These rituals can be associated with specific milestones such as baby naming, graduation ceremony, wedding, or funeral. With holidays such as a Thanksgiving dinner or trick-or-treating or on Halloween, or a Passover Seder shown in figure 11.5, or with regular activities such as a Catholic Mass, a pre-game pep rally, or even just getting ready in the morning, showering, brushing teeth, eating breakfast, and so on. Evolution of human culture. Evolution may have selected for the development of culture. Culture serves as a method of passing down information from generation to generation in prehistoric times. The transmission of information through information or culture served to teach future generations how to teach tools, hunt domestic animals, and grow crops. Culture also creates a sense of loyalty and allegiance, may help explain altruistic behavior. Finally, culture creates a sense of us versus them, which presumably served a role in the dispersion of populations across the globe in different environmental niches. Culture, in turn, may also influence evolution. There is evidence that some genetic traits may have been favored because of cultural values and beliefs. For example, human beings, at least those who are not lactose intolerant, are the only animals that are able to digest milk after adolescence. They are also the only animals that ingest another animal's milk. These evolutionary adaptations may have arisen out of northern European cultures which relied heavily on cattle farming for sustenance. A mutation permitting digestion of milk into adulthood presumably imparted a nutritional and survival advantage to certain individuals and would thus be retained within the population.